This is War of the Suns, the Chinese War of Resistance, 1937-1945. We're looking at the third video associated with HQs, and that's called Command. I've already said you spend command points and activations to actually activate units on the map. So, for example, if I was to activate the Third Army here, assuming I still had some activations left and I had some command points left, what I can do is activate it, and every single unit which is in the 6 hex, that's a 6 hex, is not movement point, 6 hex radius, can be activated. Once a unit's activated, it can move and attack. Now, certain types of units do not need to be activated as such, like air units, but naval units do. Now, let's just go back here and have a look at command. Right, when I say the command radius is 6, it can't enter a hex or cross a hex side. It will be prohibited during a normal move. It can enter but not pass through deserts, forests or swamp hexes unless along a friendly allied road or railway. It can also, the command radius can enter or but not pass through a flooded hex. Right, command radius of Chinese HQs does not extend outside the China theatre itself. Right, so we'll leave that one for a second. Now, units that can't be commanded, I've already said in the last video, can be mustered. So an HQ that's activating like this one here, it's got a hierarchy of 3. I could actually muster 3 units which are outside the command radius. There's various restrictions on that discussed in the previous video. Units that are out of command, basically only a ground combat unit can be out of command. Unless mustered, out of command units cannot move or attack during the operational segment, even if the attack is within the command region of an activated HQ. Now, I'm not sure about that. Even if the attack text is within the command radius of the activated HQ. Don't really understand that. Units in friendly holding boxes and all Imperial Japanese Navy ground units within 6 axes of a friendly naval base are considered in command. These units can effectively be activated by any division. So we've got there's a Japanese Central China Area of Operations unit here, this area army. Even though that's an Imperial Japanese naval unit, because it's within 6 hexes of a naval base, it can be activated by by any Japanese HQ, basically. All right. Otherwise, it could only be activated if it was in itself within 6 hexes of a naval base, which in this case Shanghai is a naval base, and there's a Japanese naval base there. There's also one here, okay, Port Arthur. Holding boxes are considered to have ports in them because they represent areas like Japan, Taiwan, Korea, etc. like that. The next little wrinkle to this system is what type of command you have. You can have full command over a unit. That means it can move and fight as normal, basically. Okay. or you can have partial command. Now, partial command means you defend at a normal rate, but you can only attack at half strength, and your movement is reduced by 1 if you've got a movement factor of 4 or less, and by 2 if you've got a movement factor of 5 and above. All this is summarized in this table here. Now, Japanese units are really flexible in the fact that they can pretty much activate anything, though I have discussed some of the rules that restrict the naval activation slightly. US HQs can pretty much do anything as well. Same would be British. Communist ones are very well, they're totally restricted. They can only activate communist units. They can actually activate units of pro-CCP cliques as well. There are a couple of pro-CCP cliques, being Yen and Fu here. So they could be up active, those units. There's some Yen units there. They could actually be activated by the communists if necessary. This is because there's some weird relationships between the various fractions in China. Some fractions were much more favourable to the communists than others. Others were totally against them. Right. Now, Kuomintang have got the most restrictions on their sort of activations. Yeah, there is a third type of command where there is a unit over which an HQ has no command at all, which would be a Kuomintang unit can't command a CCP unit, for example. Now, rival cliques, there's a bit of a tweak here there. The effectiveness of Kuomintang ground units might be affected by mixing rival cliques. There are certain cliques who do not like each other. They will be marked on the counters. I'm trying to find one, but normally there's a little indication on the side here to say these guys really don't like these guys here. Okay. Right, that means that you will only ever have a partial command over those units of the other clique. Now, that can be overridden if the activating unit is the GHQ. Okay, and then say Chiang Kai-shek could activate, and the rival cliques would all function as full command. I know this is probably very difficult for you to understand unless you actually read the manual and following it through, but I think I'm getting the gist of how this works.